Hello value investors, thank you for joining me. Today I want to talk about 5 books that are slightly offbeat when it comes to investing. Hope you find these books useful. As always, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe now so you can get my next value installment. Also, don't forget to check out my marketplace on Seeking Alpha. It's called Deep Value Returns. You can do a free trial and see if it's for you. I offer which stocks I own and with balanced arguments for them. So let's get started. So the first book is called 5 Rules and it's by Pat Dorsey. I'll put the link below. And what I like about this book is not only that it offers a very much overarching theme of investing, but it doesn't go too much into theory. It's very much practice driven. So it tells you, okay, this is what you should think about, but this is kind of things that don't work in all instances. I really like this book. Pat Dorsey also has a separate book, so I'm kind of sneaking in a second one there, which is called The Little Book, and it's the part of the Little Book series. That book is more about looking at competitive advantages and dynamics. It is very, very good book, but it's very, very different. 5 Rules, I think, is just slightly better, slightly more advanced. It doesn't have that much coverage. This book, I look on Amazon and it's not such a big book. It hasn't got such a popular readership, but I think it's such a helpful book. So it definitely makes my cut for offbeat, but very, very good and advanced. The second book that I want to talk about is called Bull by Maha. You can look this up. And it's a book that covers the bull market coming out of 1984 to about the year 2000. And it's really about just following the dynamics of how the bull markets evolve. This book is really good because it just cuts through right now, particularly in 2020, about how to avoid this wretched excess. That you can think that the trees are going to grow to the sky. It's just a fiction. It's just an illusion. So I really like this book. Bull by Maggie Maha wasn't a discovery of mine. Actually, it was Monish Pabrai that talks about it in some of his videos, and I just felt, okay, I check it out, and it really cements in the idea for me how to avoid this kind of FOMO, fear of missing out. Book number 3 on my list, it's kind of similar. It's called 5 Stock Market Crashes, The History of the United States in 5 Stock Market Crashes by Scott Nations, and it's just a terrific book that really encapsulates, again, how often market crashes go by. And if you look at it, there's a stock market crash of 1907, that's the bank daisies, and how that is a liquidity crunch. It looks at the famous one in 1929. That's quote-unquote my favorite crash. It also talks about 1989 Black Monday, and it's quite similar because it has a resemblance, in my opinion at least, to what's happened in 2020. Also talks about the financial crisis of 2008, and then it talks about the flash crash of 2010. In the comments section, you'll see some people thinking that, given that he could have talked about the European Union and the Greek crisis, and it does avoid talking about some of the recent crises, although this book is quite a recent book. But there's enough there, like to really drive home the point that crashes happen quite frequently, and it's one thing happening totally unrelated often to the stock market, just kind of brings down the whole sentiment for all investors. The next book, book number 4, Deep Value by Tobias Carlyle. I think this book is a very well researched, and even if you're a beginner or advanced, going through the footnotes of the book and just following upon all those little steps that he did to write the book. A lot of them are just repetitions from other things that you've already read, but it just gives you a very nice list in the footnotes to just go through and just say, okay, actually I didn't know this story, and just talks a lot obviously about Carl Icahn and just some of the stories that you might not be very familiar with. I really like that book. Book number 5, Outsiders. This book is just, it talks about the subline is 8 unconventional CEOs. My favorite one that comes out there, quite well researched, is John Malone. But it gives a little table in it that talks about the idiosyncrasies of each one of the CEOs. But you see, there's just really a different name for all of them obsessing about cash flow, whether it be cash flow or owner's earnings in Buffett's case, or EBITDA in John Malone's case. They're all obsessed with earning power. It's not about whether the company is growing on the top line, it's just about how much earning power the business is growing over time. So I find that book really useful. I hope you found these comments useful, and I hope that you will drop some comments in the section below. Don't forget, check out my marketplace. You can do a free trial there, see if it suits you, which stocks I own and why. Thank you very much. See you soon.